Alright, Technical Manual 5650, Technical Manual Center Boiler and Plans, all approved for public release, distribution unlimited to Headquarters Department Army, October 1989. Section 2, Boiler and Accessories and Fittings. American Society Mechanical Engineer Requirements. To ensure the safe operation of the American Society of Mechanical Engineers boiler pressure vessel codes return to the boilers to be equipped with water gauge, glass gauge cocks, water column pressure gauge, safety valve for circulation, high temperature water boilers which have no water line do not require gauge glass or gauge cocks. No temperature gauge is required. Detailed requirements for the location, installation, detailed requirements for the location and installation of these accessories of the power boilers are found in Section 1A American Standard Mechanical Engineer Boiler Pressure Vessel Codes. The requirements for heating boilers are Section 4. Section 4 requires each of the boiler to be equipped with the two controls to be cut off with the fuel supplies to prevent the steam pressure, water temperature for the exceeding the boiler limits to control and pressure operated with the steam boilers, temperature operated with the hot water boilers. Low water fuel cutoff instrument is required. Oil and gas fired boilers must be equipped with a suitable flame safeguards, control, safe limit controls, burners, which are approved with the national recognized organization. 210 gauge glass and gauge cocks. Each of the boiler must have at least one water gauge glass, and if operating with a 400 psi greater, 2 gauge glasses are required for the same horizontal line. Each of the gas gauge must have the valve drained. The gauge glass of the pipe connections must not be less than a half inch of the pipe inside. The lowest visible part of the gauge glass must be at least 2 inches above the lowest permissible water level, which is defined in the lowest level to which there is no danger of overheating any of the part of the boiler during operation. Horizontal fire tube boilers are glass and set with at least 3 inches of the water over the highest point of the tubes. The lowest grown sheet is low. Reading of the figure 21 illustrates the type of the water gauge. Each of the gauges consists of a strong glass tube connected with the boiler water column. 2 special fittings. The fittings sometimes have an automatic shut-off device functions and water glass falls. Requirements of fabrication of these shut-off devices are given in the American Standard Mechanical Engineering Code. The boiler operating pressure exceeds 100 psi. Gauge glass must be fronted with the connection to install the valve drain with the safe discharge. Each of the boiler must have 3 or more gauges of the tricocks located with the visible length of the gauge glasses. Gauge cocks are used to check the accuracy of the boiler water level indicated with the gauge glass. They are open with the hand wheel and the chain wheel or lever where they are closed by hand or closed by hand with a weight or a spring. Middle cock is usually the normal water lever of the boiler. Other tubes are spaced equally above and below it. Spacing depends on the size of the boiler. Alright, 211. Water columns are hollow cast iron, malleable iron, steel vessels that having the connection with the boiler. Top of the connection enter the seam space of the boiler through top of the shell and head of the water connection. Enter the shell to the head of at least 6 inches below the lowest permissible water level of the pipe used to connect the water column to the boiler. May be brass, iron, steel, depending on the pressure. It may be at least 1 inch in the diameter of the valves. Cocks are used for the connection lines if the construction prevents stopping the sedimental deposit. If the position operating mechanism indicates whether they open or close outside screw and yoke type of the gate valves are generally use the servo, the lever, the lifting type of the gauge valve to stop the cocks permanently attached. The levers arranged to indicate open or closed position may be used. The valves or cocks must be locked and open. Crossing generally in place for the elbows, T's, and piping between the water column and the boiler to facilitate center line. The valve drain and blowdown line is connected with the water columns for removal of the mud sediment from the lines and columns. And of all blowdowns should be open, located with the ease of the inspection of the water column shown in Figure 2.2. 222 is equipped with the higher and low water alarms with the operating whistle warner. The operator of the whistle is operated by either the 2-float, 212 pressure gauge, temperature gauge. Alright, this shows the tubular air heater, core in gas outlet, cool air inlet. The baffles, a heater air outlet from the gas, a tube's gas filled with gas inlet, suit or cylinder hopper, exhaust gases in. Alright, this shows you regenerative air filter, transition house, suit or blower, air axle seal adjusters, lower support beam, radial seat, circumferential seals, land drive, rotor, heating surface, circumferential sea land, upper support beam, water washer, and gas. Alright, this is your water gauge glass, figure 221. Water column, figure 222, water, steam. Every boiler must be equipped with an easy readable pressure gauge. The pressure gauge must be installed so to indicate the pressure of the below at all times. Each with the same boiler must be the pressure gauge connected with the same space with the same connection water column. Valve or cock must be placed in the gauge connection adjacent with the gauge. The additional valve of the cock may be located near the proper to provide with the lock with the seal with the open position. No other shut-off valves may be located between the gauge and the boiler. The pipe of the connection must be ample size the range so that they may be created by blowing out. The steam boiler gauge connection must be contained with the siphon equivalent of the device to develop and maintain the water seal to prevent the steam entering gauge tube. The pressure gauge connections may be suitable for the maximum allowable work pressure temperature. The connection to the whole boiler must be not less than 4¼ of an inch standard pipe size wheel, where steel and iron pipe with the tubing is used. There must be at least 1/2 inside diameter of the dial of the pressure gauge must be graduated approximately double of the pressure safety valve setting. This should be never less than 1 1/2 times the pressure, because every hot water boiler must also have a temperature gauge located at the connected readily. Temperature gauge must be installed and indicates the water temperature near the outlet connections at all times. 213 safety valves. Safety valves installed with the prevent excessive pressure buildup of the boiler. Superheated with that economizer safety valves designed quickly to pop up the full open position. The steam pressure rises to a set point with the quickly close with the pressure drop the preset amount with the blow down or blow back. That must close tightly without shattering the large leakage that remain tightly closed after reseating. Their construction installation performance are rigid with described in American Society of Mechanical Engineers Code. No valve is stopped the permitted with the boiler safety valve with the discharge with the line supported separately with the prevented undo the stress of the valve with the recommended method installation shown in figure 223 with the economizer may be made. Shut off the boiler must have one of the more safety valves. Each of the superheater must also have one or more safety valves located near the superheater outlet. All safety as a safety valve is obtained is defined an automatic pressure valve with relief device actuated with the static pressure upstream of the valve with the characteristic fill open pump action. The safety valve is used for the gas vapor pressure vapor services including steam hot water boilers used in safety relief valve, which is defined an automatic pressure actuated relief device suitable for either the safety valve or relief valve depending on the application. All safety valve, or relief valves are constructed so that the failure of any part cannot be free with the full discharge of the steam of the water from the valve. Safety relief valve, and like safety valves, it must be manufactured and stamped in accordance with the American Society of Mechanical Engineering Code, Figure 223, safety valve installations. Alright, type of safety valves. One common type of the safety valve is huddling chamber safety valve illustrated in figure 224. The safety valve only opens rapidly because of the additional air with which the steam pressure is exerted as soon as the valve stares onto the life of the seat and reaction steam onto the seat. The second action resembles the action which causes the free air and the water steam hose to whip around when discharge velocity in the hide. The area between the valve seat and the adjusting ring is called the huddling chamber. As seen in figure 224, clearance between the inside of the adjusting ring of the feather comparatively small. The boiler pressure is entered with the air of the feather with the equal to the inside of the seating of the brush. As soon as the seat is slightly displaced, steam starts to flow through the valve. Because of the excessive boiler pressure, the steam cannot escape between the feather and adjusting ring as fast as the flowing through the seat. As the result, pressure builds up under the feather. The turn increases the force available for pushing the valve off the seat. The flow of the steam is turned with the feather and it also exerts the face to open valve. The two forces cause the valve prop open. Because of the large area supported subject to the steam pressure reactive force of the flowing steam, the valve does not close until the pressure drops below, which is caused to open. The difference between the set and popping pressure and closing pressure is called the blowdown. Jet flow nozzle reactions. The safety valves are common types. Power actuated pressure relief valves are also allowed by the American Society of Mechanical Engineering Code, but are not used in Army installations. C. Safety valve capacity. Safety valve capacity. Each of the boiler must set such for the valve. The valves discharge all the steam that can be generated by the boiler without allowing pressure to raise more than 6% of the high pressure at which the valve is set, and in no case more than 6% above the maximum allowable working pressure. Safety valve capacity must be example. The American Standard Mechanical Engineering Code must not be less than the maximum design of stream capacity as determined by the manufacturer. The required steam relief capacity of an inch in pounds per hour for the safety relief valve and high temperature and water boiler determined divided in the maximum amount of BTUs per hour at the boiler nozzle at 1,000. Economizer safety valve capacity is calculated for the maximum heat absorption of BTUs hours divided by 1,000. Safety valve settings, one or more safety valves on. Alright, this shows the safety valve installation. You have a anchor and discharge piping, solidified body structure, radial clearance, but when valve is clear. Bore equal to nominal size outlet, drain, short as possible at 24 inches, bore to equal nominal size of pipe valve, flange inlet and shown welded inlet joint, body drain, and the vertical clearance of when the valve is operating. Alright, holding chamfer safety. Release nut, lock nuts, compression screw, lever pin, top lever, compression lock nut, lever pin, drop lever, spring, top spring, washer, feather guide, retaining ring, bottom spring, washer, locking screw, spindle, feather guide, feathers, seating bushing, base, 1.5 inch NPT for drain, adjusting ring pin, actual location of the ring pin at 90 degrees to the right when facing the outlet, and the spindle and locking screw. The boiler must be set at below the maximum allowable working pressure. If an additional valve to use with the highest pressure setting, the most not exceed the maximum allowable pressure more than 3% of the complete with the range of the proper pressure setting. Also, saturated steam safety valve of the boiler must not exceed 10% of the highest steam. The pressure with which any of the valve is set. The pressure setting of the safety relief valve. The high temperature water boilers exceeding this range, 10% range, may come with the safety relief valves and hot water surface must be susceptible to damage. Subsequent leakage of the safety valves relieving stream. They recommend the maximum allowable working pressure of the boiler safety relief valve setting of the high temperature water boilers to be selected substantially higher than desired operating pressure, minimizing the frequency of safety relief. 214. The boiler outlet valves. Each steam discharge outlet from the boiler, except the safety valve with the superheated connections, must have the stop valve. The valve is over 2-inch pipe of the size. It must be outside of the screw of the yoke of the rising spindle, with the spindle position indicate if the valve is open or closed. The reference to figure 225. A plug-type cock may be used to plug the in-held placement plan of the landing guard. If always remote indication opening and closing, if the use of the slowing up open mechanism. When 2 or more boilers are connected with the common header, the steam connection for each of the boiler have the manhole opening must be fitted with the 2 stop holes, valves with ample free blow-down drain, and between them. The stop valves should consist preferably of one of the non-return valves set next to the boiler. Second valve, the outside screw yoke. However, the 2 outside screw yokes must maybe used the non-return valve with the type of the check valves, which may be held in close. Reference figure 226. If it can be opened by the pressure of the boiler, closer than the boiler pressure is lower than the head pressure of the ignition, which may be caused by a burst of tube, loss of fire, or other reason the valve required for the small difference of the pressure of the proper operation. The dash pot is provided to prevent shattering and to rapid movement of the valve ladder and catwalks. Other means of operating valves from operating floors in the boiler room shall be provided. Alright, 215, blow-off valves and piping. Each boiler must have at least one blow-off connection installed with the lowest water space available to allow removal of the sludge. The pipe used must not be less than 1 inch or over 2.5 inches. Extreme strong pipe must be used with the pressure of the 100 psi. Blow-off line must be protected with the direct furnace and the heat by the brickwork or other high-resisting material which is constructed to allow the inspection of the piping necessary to cover the sediment collects the blow off of the line with this. Since there is no circulation in the water, the pipe is easily become overheated and burned out. Care must be taken to current ensure ample room with expansion contraction junction of the pipe and setting with an unslow opening valve that might be used with a blow-off line pressure of 100 psi. To slow the opening valve, the slow opening valve of the cock was required with the pressure of 100 psi. The typical slow open valve is set shown in figure 227. The slow opening valve is the only one required the least of the 5 complete turns to operating mechanisms. Completely open with a completely closed position as used to avoid the stock of the piping possible entry to the personnel. Valves which in damp pockets of the sediment can collect them and not use. The boiler down is provided with the control disc involved in suspended solids with the concentrated steam boilers. This is the subject of discussion in paragraph 4.8. Alright, 216, fusible plugs. Fusible plugs are sometimes used with the fire tube boilers, provided with the add protection against low water. There are constructed brad with tampered hole drilled lengthwise in them and the plug filled with low melting alloy consisting of mostly tin. There are 2 types of fusible plugs, fire actuated and steam actuated. actuated plugs. For the alloy tin, copper, lead with the melting at the point of 440 degrees to 450. They're screwed into the shell special with the tube, lowest possible water level on one side of the plug, the container with the fire hot glass, and the other side of water. Along with the plug is covered with the water. The tin does not melt. The water level drops below the plug, and the tin melts and blow down the blower. Then must take out the surface and replace the plug. The fusible plugs are often type the brush renewed regular once a year. The old casting should not be used. They should be replaced with new plugs obtained with the Boulder manufacturer. A steam actuated plug. Steam actuated plug is installed at the end of the pipe outside of the drum other than the end of the pipe, which is open, lowest permissible water level. The valve is usually installed with the plug in the drum, the metal in the plug metals temperature below the steam and the boiler. The pipe is small enough to prevent water from circulating inside and then cooling the plug. The water around the plug is much cooler than the water in the boiler as long as the end of the pipe is below the water level. However, the water level drops below the open end of the pipe, and the cool water runs out of the pipe, and the steam condenses on the pipe and the steam. Figure 225, outside screw and yoke valve. Starting at 1 body, 2 bonnet, 3 bonnet gasket, 4 bonnet bolt, 5 bonnet and bolt nut, 6 disc, 7 disc pin, 8 this ring trim. 9 hand wheel. 11 hand wheel nut. 12 packaging. 13 packaging gland. 14 packaging gland flange. 15 eye bolt. 16 eye bolt nut. 17 eye bolt rivet. 18 repackaged seat bushing. 19 seat ring. 20 where's 20 the stem. 21 yoke. 23 the yoke bolt. 25 yoke bushing. Alright, starting from 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down. Hand wheel nut, hand wheel, stem, yoke bushing, yoke bonnet, gland stud nut, gland stud, packaging, bolt bonnet, bolt nut, bonnet, gasket, bonnet, bolt, dash pot, piston rings, piston, lock nut, disc, drain plug, seating ring, body lubrication plug. This is slow open blow down valve set. Alright, metal of the steam. The steam melts the plug and steam blows out, waiting the operator. This type of the plug may be warning the operator. The type of the plug replaced with taking the boiler out of service by closing the valve in the plug line. 217 soup blowers. Soup fine ash and cinders can collect on boiler tubes, cause with a substantial decrease for the heat transfer rate with a substantial very poor conductor heat. Additionally, extensive amounts of the deposits on the tube of the passenger become plugs and gas flows. Restricted pressure scrapers, hand lances. Occasionally, soup blowers are used to remove the deposit of the fire tube boilers. Hand lance mechanical soup blowers are used to clean water tube boilers. Brushes, scrapers, hand lances. Brushes and scrapers are made of various types to fit the boiler tube. They are fastened long handle, usually a piece of the pipe at the push and through the tubs, through the tubes. Automatically brushing system, the vacuum dusting collection assessment attachments are defective. The common figure 22. Figure 28 illustrates the fire tubes cleaning system. The hand lance is a piece with the pipe supplied with the compressed air steam, occasionally special headed with attached to the head lance. The head lance may be needed to remove the deposits of ash or slag. Even the boilers are equipped with mechanical soup blowers. Mechanical soup blowers. Permanently mounted mechanical soup blowers are used with water tube boilers. The blowers are mounted in the setting wall of the boiler support in structure at several points to clean as much of the surface as practical. The blowers consist of the head, which emits the steam, and the air turns them into the element, and the element itself distributes the steam or the air through the necessary piping, bearings and pipings, and other supports. 1. The head. The head consists of an operating mechanism, usually chain, hand, wheel, loop, operating 2 gears, turning element with a limited dark poppet valve with the controlling the flow of the steam air into the element cam, the opening, closing of this valve. Reference figure 229. The poppet valve is adjusted with the start to obtain the proper steam. The air regulation cam is adjusted to establish the proper blowing air and prevent steam from the air from striking and cutting the baffle, drums, and headers. Elements. 2. Elements. Elements are tubes containing a number of the nozzles. The nozzles are spaced belong to the element of blow between the boiler tubes and the lane of the blowing. Add the number of the tubes to the mass of blowing with the when elements are installed. Land blowing is important for the nozzle spacing. The fit with the boiler tube spacing. The elements are located properly. Failure to observe the precautions may result in the tubes that cover the high velocity discharge of the nozzle. The elements are made plain carbonized alloy steel, depending on the temperature into which they may be subjected to supported regular intervals bearing clamped with boiler tubes. The distance between them bearings is determined by the flow of gas temperature in a specific area. Our figure 228 shows the firing tube cleaning system. You have your boiler tool, your steel brush travels full length of the tube. The spring steel tube nozzle carries the weight of the machine, the carrying handle, and the trigger. Figure 229 shows a fixed position mechanical soup blower. Mechanical linkage, pop, valve, trigger, blowing element, swivel tube, main gear, pinion gear, sheaving wheel, and cam. Section 3, fuel handling and combustion equipment.